These guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording Saturday, April 13th. I almost said Thursday, even though it's not even close to Thursday. We're here after Celtics Hornets. We already recapped the Celtics Hornets game. If you want to hear our thoughts on that game, you can check it out on the podcast feed or on our YouTube channel. A reminder, leave a like on the video. Subscribe to How About Them Celtics on YouTube. We'd appreciate it very much. And comment what's popping for a chance to win a $10 Incognito gift card. Use code CLNS on Prize Picks for up to $100 deposit matching. And if you're listening on audio platforms, make sure to follow us there, leave 5 stars, and leave a review. But first thing we're going to get into, playoffs right around the corner. We're about a week out from the playoffs starting, and the Eastern Conference is getting down to the nitty-gritty. One final game, day of games, I should say, is coming right at you tonight as you're listening to this. And it matters for the Celtics, except their game doesn't matter and everything else does matter. So we're going to go through.
Everybody else
Take a look.
matters. Sadly, you have to rely on these bum teams to do your dirty work for you.
Every other game matters. Andrew Claudio, who is now both of our friends from the Knicks Film School podcast, put out a thread of East playoff scenarios thread, basically what has to happen for each of them. It tells you how the standings would occur if teams win their games. Before we get into that, and I do have the thing he used to make this as well, so we can go through and sort of click through and play with it a little bit. I don't know how this site works at all, so it could be a complete mess. But just for context, the teams that matter for the Celtics are basically all the teams in the Eastern Conference. And so
yes,
all the teams outside of the bottom tier guys. So tonight, as you're hearing this, the Heat play the Raptors, the Pacers play the Hawks, the Cavs play the Hornets, the Knicks play the Bulls, and the Bucks play the Magic. So outside of Bucks Magic, which is two of the teams actually in the race, and Philly plays Brooklyn, it is a lot of team in the playoffs plays absolute garbage team. And so the Celtics, in some scenarios, are going to have to pray for those garbage teams to win.
The good news is,
yes,
Orlando is one of the most important losses that can happen tomorrow. So, I mean, you'll see in the thread, but if Orlando loses, I believe they did I saw a graphic with all the combinations, like in a spreadsheet, and it was like, if Orlando loses, 5 of the 8 result in Philadelphia being in the non-play-in. So you won't have to worry about the possible Philly draw. Even though Embiid hurt himself a little bit yesterday, I don't know if there was an update after the game, but I watched it happen. He went to the locker room limping, came out and played the second half, and they finished off the Magic. So that's not what you want to see if you're a Philly fan. That's for sure.
But yeah, let's we can look at, do you want to try the playoff predictor ourselves, or do you want to look at Andrew's thread?
You might as well just go through the thread or use one of the spreadsheet things I put in, just so you don't have to do the work.
Let's that works for me. We can take a look then. So Andrew put it here. First one is every home team wins. So if every team that is expected to win except Orlando beats Milwaukee. So if Boston, Cleveland, Indiana, Miami, New York, Orlando, Philly, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see this. If you're watching on or listening on audio platforms, I'll do my best to explain it for you. But if Boston beats Washington, Cleveland beats Charlotte, Indy beats Atlanta, Miami beats Toronto, New York beats Chicago, Philly beats Brooklyn, all expected. And then Orlando beats Milwaukee, which is really the only game of these that is probably going to be close to an even spread, is the best way I can explain it. Then the result would be New York in 2, Cleveland in 3, Bucks in 4, Magic 5, Pacers 6, and then Philly and Miami still in the play-in. And so that's the most relevant for the Celtics. If that happens, Sixers, Philly in the play-in still.
This is a shitty outcome, by the way.
Not good. Not good.
Looking at the standings, you will have to play one of either probably the Sixers or Heat. And then the second round, you'll be rewarded with probably playing the Bucks. And then you will have another grueling matchup waiting for you in the conference finals. Whoever emerges from that side will have earned it. So it's not what you want in the slightest.
No, this might be the worst scenario for the Celtics. And unfortunately, it is
wins.
Unfortunately, it's a fairly likely one, I'd say. Like this is probably what most people would pick to happen, right? Like all the favored teams win effectively.
Yeah, I would say so.
Not great. Next one is every home team wins except the Bucks beat the Magic. That would be Miami, Orlando. Yeah, Miami, Orlando in 7-8. Philly jumps up to 6. Milwaukee stays in 2. This would mean the Celtics, in an ideal world, wouldn't have to play anybody until the conference final.
This is what you should be rooting for tomorrow. You want the Bucks to win tomorrow. Because Orlando in this scenario falls to 8, they would play Miami. So there is a chance you draw Miami in the first round. But there's also a very fair chance that you end up playing Orlando and then Cleveland or Indiana. And then you only have to play one of Milwaukee, New York, and Philly.
This is
pretty
good
draw.
This is the dream scenario I was trying to outline on last night's podcast. This is the ideal. It's
kind of funny that it was done so simply in one tweet. Every home team wins except Orlando.
I know, which is also a fairly likely thing. Like the Bucks could win that game.
The Bucks will be trying to win, by the way.
Yes, because the Bucks want to stay in 2. But next one is every home team except Indy wins. So this is the same exact thing, but Orlando wins against Milwaukee, but Atlanta beats Indiana. That would lead to Pacers Heat in 7-8. Knicks get 2. Cavs get 3. Bucks and Sixers 4-5. Orlando and 6. This is not good for the Celtics. This means they would have to play the Bucks and the Sixers in the second round. This would be a bad one. This wouldn't be great.
It wouldn't be great, but it wouldn't be the absolute worst because you at least, hopefully, wouldn't have to sweat in the first round.
Yeah, unless Miami pulls what they did last year, then it would be,
far from ideal.
Next one is also thank you to Andrew. Shout out the GOAT. Every home team except Philly wins. So Boston, Cleveland, Indy, Miami, New York, and Orlando win, but Brooklyn beats Philly would lead to Knicks 2, Cavs 3, Bucks playing the Magic in the 4-5, Indians 6, Heat Sixers 7-8. Also not ideal. Anything with Sixers Heat in the 7-8 is less than ideal.
I mean, it is possible that one of those teams does lose to the 9-10 team because they are going to have to play. Like, you have to think, you are probably going to get the worst of those two teams at the very worst. The better team should win. They should want to win because they don't want to risk falling out of the postseason altogether.
And I'd rather want to play the Bucks than the Celtics, or whoever's in 2 than the Celtics, obviously.
Correct. Yeah, I think that's not a hot take.
Yeah, 100%. Next one is every home team except New York loses. So all of the favored teams win. Orlando beats Milwaukee and Chicago, but Chicago beats New York would lead to Cavs in 2, Bucks in 3, Knicks Magic in the 4-5, Pacers in 6, Sixers Heat in 7-8. Not great. Again, not ideal.
No.
Anything with Sixers Heat down there isn't going to be great. Next one is all the home teams win, but Atlanta beats Indiana and Milwaukee beats Orlando. That would lead to
thanks for the good news.
Bucks.
This is the best.
I don't think it's the best. Bucks in 2, Knicks in 3, Cavs in 4, Sixers 5, Heat 6, Orlando 7, Pacers 8. I think this is the best floor, if that makes sense. But Heat or Sixers in 7 with another one of the other teams is the highest ceiling. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah.
But this would
be so funny if the bracket got stacked where all the teams that are everyone afraid of are just playing each other, and the Celtics have all the Mickey Mouse teams.
That would be fire. That'd be great. But yeah, this would lead to I don't want to say the easiest first round matchup, but this is better than the possibility of playing Miami or Philly.
Mm-hmm. I half want to play Miami just so they beat the brakes off of them and then
exercise the demons.
Good. Yeah.
I don't hate that either. Next one would be every home team. I'm just going to say it. The Boston-Washington thing does not matter at all. So I'm going to stop saying that. Cavs beat Charlotte. Hawks beat Pacers. Heat beat Raptors. Knicks beat Bulls. But then the Bucks beat the Magic and the Nets beat the Sixers. That would lead to Bucks in 2, Knicks in 3, Cavs 4, Heat 5, Sixers 6, Pacers 7, Magic 8. Also not a bad one. This is also okay. Sure. Not the end of the world. But
what a day. What a day
it
have
is
ahead tomorrow.
Incredible.
How long is this thread?
Very long. I'll speed run. Where did I leave off? You shouldn't have made me scroll. Disaster.
The thing about this is like only some of these will matter. Like some of these variants will matter because there are two different clusterfucks in the East. There's the 2 through 4, and then there's 5 through 8.
Mm-hmm.
So like Cleveland really doesn't matter for the Celtics tomorrow. Milwaukee matters because they're playing Orlando. The Knicks don't matter.
Well, Cleveland matters for the Celtics in the context of who they could get in the second round.
I'm more concerned with the first round at this point.
I think yes,
it will be cool. It'll be cool if
matter.
It's like Mickey Mouse through the whole ride of the conference.
Yeah, I'm just saying it does matter because like if it lays out where like let me just finish. So this one would be Cleveland wins, Atlanta wins, Miami wins, Chicago wins, Orlando wins, Brooklyn wins. That would be Heat and Sixers in 7-8 bad. But Knicks and Magic in 4-5, so you wouldn't have to see the Bucks until the conference finals. This is another one. If Charlotte, Atlanta, Toronto, Milwaukee, and Brooklyn win, but the Knicks beat Chicago, that would lead to again Sixers in Miami at the bottom.
Charlotte
not great
winning after what we saw yesterday.
Yeah, I know. This another one he outlined. Doesn't matter. It's Miami down there. This is another one that could benefit the Celtics. If Cleveland, Indiana, Miami, New York wins, but Milwaukee beats Orlando and Brooklyn beats Philly, that would lead to Bucks in 2, Knicks in 3, Cavs in 4, Pacers 5, Heat 6, Sixers 7, Magic 8. This would be another high risk, high reward one for the Celtics.
Pull the outcomes out again. Just so people can like be like, this is what we need.
This is another good one. Yes, this is a solid.
So Cleveland, Indiana, Miami, New York, Milwaukee, Brooklyn. Orlando losing tomorrow is a must. That is, if there's anything you need cliff notes on, if Orlando loses, you should feel pretty good.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anyways, those are some of the good ones. This is one of my personal favorites. This is a bad one. I don't know. Andrew included the Bulls in this one. That matters. Like, thanks. They're just like happy to be here in the picture.
He just wanted you to like remember that they were in.
Yeah, but that's one of my favorite ones. And then this one as well. No, not this one. Where is it? The other good one. This right here is another one you can root for. All the home teams, but Milwaukee beats Orlando would lead to Heat Magic 7-8. But then the 4-5 would be Cavs Pacers, which is another pretty good one.
Yes.
Anyways, we can put away the strings and the numbers and the what do they mean.
One thing to remember: go Bucks tomorrow. Go Bucks.
Go Bucks. Go Bucks.
The Pacers winning yesterday fucked us. They were in a tight one with Cleveland, and before the game ended, Philly was up out of the play-in because they'd beaten Orlando and they had the tiebreaker. Because there's a billion rules with the tiebreakers, like one of them being the division winner, which means absolutely nothing now.
Mm-hmm.
It lifted up Orlando because they have the shittiest division in all the land of them, Miami, Washington, Charlotte, and Atlanta. And teams like Philly, who has Celtics, Knicks above them in the division, and then Indiana, Cleveland, Milwaukee, all had to bow down to the Magic, who lost.
Fucking Pacers, man. Those bombs. Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members. It is the easiest and most exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats and watch all the winnings roll in. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000 with basketball, hockey, college basketball entries today on Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. One of our favorite picks here at the How About Them Celtics podcast is the Drew Holiday blocks. It's usually 0.5. He just needs more than 0.5 blocks. That means 1 Drew Holiday block. and that pick is in the bag. Prize Picks is really simple to play. I can make my picks and submit my entry in less than 60 seconds. Download the app today and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, download the app today and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. All right, next thing. Celtics are getting an exhibit in the Hall of Fame. I wrote about this for Celtics blog. They did a whole press conference yesterday before the game. It is called the Vault, Boston Celtics Unlocked. It's going to be a rotating thing. So the Hall of Fame is effectively opening up a new exhibit in the Hall of Fame called the Vault, and they will rotate the exhibits in and out of it. And the Boston Celtics are going to be the first one. It's going to be a history of the Celtics. They're going to have a bunch of cool stuff. Cam Tabatabai shared a video that they shared with us, like a little promo thing. I don't think there's sound, or there is sound, but we're going to turn off the sound because it's useless. But it's just like promo of the Vault, opening the Vault and all things Celtics, etc. is the whole like shtick. Opening this summer in Springfield in the Hall of Fame. They're going to have a bunch of cool stuff. Included in the cool stuff that I'm referencing is 11 championship rings. They detailed it. They said they have Kuzie's 57, Sam Jones 59. Auerbach will have 2 rings from 62 and 74. JoJo White 76. Robert Parrish is going to have 2 rings. Other things, Ray Allen's jersey from that weight finals with the champagne stain still on it. They really emphasized that. Paul Pierce's St. Patrick's Day edition jersey, I think it's from 06. Robert Parrish's 20,000 point Paul and clogs that Larry Bird wore when he's part of the Dream Team. Pierce and Tatum did some of the voiceovers for some of the exhibits, like some of the items and stuff, like there's like voiceover stuff. And yeah, it seems like it's going to be a cool thing. The Celtics are the first team and the first thing. Like I assume they could do like, oh, Jordan, they could do like other things, but they're the first like thing in the Vault. So it's pretty cool.
Rightfully so. Yeah. It's in Massachusetts. I wonder what like urged the NBA to make this. I guess it gives you something new to go back to the Hall of Fame for every year. If I had to guess, I've been in the Hall of Fame forever. I went when I was a 10-year-old with a like summer camp trip. I haven't actually been since I would care about anything in there. So maybe I'll go back this summer.
Make the trip. It's a cool place. I went for the Hall of Fame ceremony.
That's right.
So
that was the day I went to Six Flags. We were both in Springfield.
But I didn't actually go to the Hall of Fame because it wasn't at the Hall of Fame. It was like a hall thing. Like it was at like another place in Springfield. So I didn't actually go to the hall. But
who's getting inducted that you went?
Manu Ginobili, Dwayne Wade, Pau Gasol, Dirk Nowitzki.
Oh, it was for the Spurs. Okay, yes.
Yeah. And technically Bulls, but I don't think I wrote too much for that. Anyways, yeah, so it's good for the Celtics. They're getting an exhibit. That's all there is. It's just like a news thing. Sam, you pulled this from Reddit. Would you like to break down what exactly this is for me?
Yeah, so Steve Hewitt of the Boston Herald put this article together, and he talked to Payton Pritchard about his growth this season. And you know, if you've been watching over the last X amount of games, Pritchard has been fantastic. He's done a fantastic job of manning the bench. He's been the leader. He has been somebody you can trust with the basketball. And he had to step up because Drew Holiday had a shoulder injury not long ago, and Derek White missed a little bit of time as well. In those games, he has taken a leap. He looks far more comfortable than he ever has with the basketball. And he spoke about kind of what has motivated him as he's gearing up to play all 82. Like literally, if he plays Sunday, he will have played every single game. So he says, it's definitely a big accomplishment for me. To play 82 games is tough, but through the summer, the work I put in to get my body ready for that, but also the journey for me. Last year, in my second year of times where I didn't play at all and how frustrating that is and how much that hurt at times, it fueled me to keep working. And for this year to come and play all 82 games and be a part of the best team in the NBA and try and do something special, it feels good. So he clearly kept a chip on his shoulder last year, which is no surprise. He wanted to be traded. They didn't trade him. Instead, they gave him a contract extension, which Jack claims is one of the best in the NBA, by the way.
It is. It's not claim. It is. I stake my flag there. It is one of the
Somebody
best
argued with me
contracts in the
about
league.
that yesterday. I have to back Jack.
Can I name drop him? Can I call him out?
You can call out Devin.
Devin, you're fucking wrong, brother. What are we doing? How is it not one of the best contracts in the league? Like, obviously, he's not like an all-star. I'm not saying like, oh, he's this amazing player. He's gonna be an MVP, like all NBA, whatever. But like, clearly, when he has the opportunities, he can play like an all-star. Shout out Noah. He can play like a legitimate starter in the NBA. He could Sam, you pulled up the stats. I have him here. In the last 15 games, Pritchard's averaging 15-6 and 6 assists on 51-39 splits with less than a turnover a game. Like, that's fucking insane. I don't care what teams you're playing. If you're doing that in the NBA, that's insane. Like, that's amazing.
And he's done it in meaningful games too. Like, yes,
Exactly.
The Hornets game yesterday where he had 31-11 was Mickey Mouse. The Hornets didn't even play their guys, and they trotted out their hospital team. So you have to take it with a little bit of a grain of salt, but overall, he's been really good. He's looked very, very poised and patient and has made good decisions. Obviously, the turnover numbers would tell you that. So, yeah, I also think when you're talking about valuable contracts, the timeline has to be taken into account. Like some contracts he threw out there that were even better, and we'll even keep it with the Celtics. Sam Hauser, Derek White. But those guys are both expiring next year.
Hauser, yeah, both of them have this year and then one more on their deals, and then they're going to be on brand new, shiny new contracts, which the Celtics might not even be able to pay Hauser. Yeah, man, like I'm looking through other contracts around the league, thinking of like, who else like could be, excuse me, an option like in that conversation. Derek White's a good one. He only makes 19 mil. Like, that's obvious. Like, that's a really good contract. DeJounte Murray's contract is actually a lot better when you look in the context. Like, he'll make 25, 27, 29, 30. But like at that point, like that's going to be a really good contract for how good of a player he is. So like, that's fine. But Pritchard making $7 million in the year 2028 is like, I think a little bit better. Other guys that I'm looking at, like, I don't know, man. Like, I stand on it. I stand at Payton Pritchard. It's going to be one of the best contracts in the league. Herb Jones making 12, 13, 14 in the next 3 years is good. Robert Williams, even though he can't stay on the court, is a good one. Kobe White's a really good one because he's about to make 12 mil for the next 2 years, which is like that's really good value for what he does. Dante DiVincenzo makes 11, then 12, then 12 and a half, which is really good. But yeah, man, Pritchard, for what he does on the court, making $7 million a season, not only in the context of like how good he is and compared to the value, but with the amount of money the Celtics are going to have to pay their top guys, to lock up a guy as good as Payton Pritchard on a $7 million a year contract for 4 years is crazy.
Well, it's true. Like, you want an example of how important getting the right fringe guys is? Look at the Phoenix Suns. Does anybody take Phoenix seriously? They have Durant, they have Booker, they did all this to get Brad Beal in over the summer. Yet, with all the money that they have to pay that group of three, they have nobody else on their team. Grayson Allen is a good supporting cast player. Besides that, the bench guys give them nothing. They brought in Eric Gordon. He's been terrible. They can't stand him. They had to trade for Royce O'Neal at the deadline, who's been solid. But aside from that, you're relying on Bol to give you playoff minutes? Really? I don't know. Like, is that what you want the Celtics to be? No. Brad Stevens has done a tremendous job of filling out the roster with the right guys. Pritchard's a prime example. So is Hauser, and so is Cornette. And if you really want to dive into it, locking up Holiday while you can without really having to be restricted is a good move. That's what they did with Horford. He's stuck around. He's proven to be a good leader on this team. Why would you not want to extend guys? And to say Pritchard's is not one of the most valuable in the league is crazy. I couldn't stand for it. I don't usually argue with people that aren't on the show, meaning I only argue with Jack. But
I'm honored.
I had to send a bunch of messages.
Also, shout out to Pritchard for giving me this moment.
Yes,
I clipped it. Do you see on Twitter?
I did. He seemed very nice to you.
Everyone who listens to the pod
Joe,
knows that Joe clowned me.
You talked about it after the Kings game.
You didn't even give me a chance to like respond to it.
Luckily, I learned from my mistakes. And hey, Payton, how you doing?
How you doing?
I let him answer. Well, my thing is, I think he like realized who I was. Like, I'm convinced he saw the video because watch him. Like, he doesn't answer, but then as soon as he realizes what I asked him, like me specifically, like watch the smile. Hey, Payton, how you doing?
How you doing?
He like realizes what I did.
You
I learned
asking
from my
Joe how he's
mistakes.
doing before the game tomorrow is going to be fantastic content.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't asked him a question since then. Not
You
because
should
I'm
literally
like,
just like
I
get
just
a
haven't had a
T-shirt
question.
or a long sleeve that just says "How you doing" on the front. Like, just make you're the "How you doing" guy, and then you can fake being Italian.
How
Are you
doing?
Italian?
Yeah, I'm like, I
I
think
guess
like
you're
a
technically
quarter.
Italian, but you can like
Yeah,
be like stereotypically Italian.
My
Yeah.
name's pretty Italian.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Shout out
How
from
you
Tech.
doing?
Yeah, how you doing?
As I try and clasp with my fucking pinky.
Cooked.
We're almost back, but
Getting there.
I've told Jack I'm back with my pinky. Like every
Also, I'm
single
gonna
day.
forget when the pod's over, so I'm gonna ask you now. You said we're back. What time's our men's league game on Sunday?
We don't
ask you
play
on the
tomorrow.
podcast. Oh,
We have a bye.
disaster. That sucks.
Yeah, it's annoying.
That's like
And
I was
you know
gonna.
what day there will be a game is the 28th. So once we finally fucking find out when the Celtics are going to play, then we will
Yep.
know if we can play.
Yep. Cooked. Anyways, speaking of the Celtics, season is wrapping up. They have one game left, which is I was about to say tonight, but this afternoon against the Washington Wizards. And Sam, you saw it on Reddit. Reflection of the season. What was the best win of the year?
Best win of the year.
I have a very clear answer. I think it's
what a
obvious.
Discussion. I think it's Minnesota. The Minnesota overtime game at home was a lot of fun. But there were, I mean, if there's going to be 64 of them, you fucking hope there would be. You have to at least like kind of stroll down memory lane at least a little bit. So I will pull up the year one. It's great that they won on Christmas, but it feels like anytime you win at home,
Christmas
it has
is
a little
good.
bit more weight to it just because, I don't know, you have the crowd juiced behind you. It makes it a little bit more fun.
I think Minnesota was the best. I think the Warriors one was really fun when they just killed them, when they just stomped them at home, and they put Jay King on the Jumbotron.
Good
They did the wave. So that's another good one. I agree. Home wins are more fun. So that definitely
running it up on the Bulls win was a lot of fun.
That was a really fun one. You're right. Good call. Yeah.
The 2 wins against Milwaukee at home were fun. The back-to-back wins against Orlando at home were fun because they just lost the in-season tournament game against them. And at the time, we were making a ton of those 2 wins because one of them, they started Lamar Stevens at center, and they still won.
Mm-hmm.
So those are a couple good answers for you. Again, Christmas against the Lakers was good.
Putting up 50 on the all the 50-point wins were fun. It's hard for a 50-point win.
Anytime you can win by 50, cherish it.
It's a pretty good time.
Sweeping Miami. I know it's not one win, but that's like a huge season-long win. Is sweeping the Heat.
It's a pretty good one.
It's pretty good. Beating the piss out of Dallas twice is good too.
Yeah, that was a good one. Wemby, I just liked watching Wemby, and they won, so it was like a W. But like, that guy's crazy.
This is a stupid answer, but the 21-point comeback against the Pistons with the streak on the line was kind of fun.
It was fun. You're right.
Like unironically, like
no, it was.
It was like a professional wrestling scripted comeback. Mm-hmm. Like they did everything they could to make you think it was going to happen, and the Celtics were going to drop their home win streak and let the Pistons snap their losing streak. And then Tatum said that's enough of that. So that's a good answer too.
Yeah. I think it's just Minnesota, man. That Minnesota game was different. That was an incredible win for the Celtics. Like that was truly one of the most like impressive wins I think in the last 3 years for Boston.
Valentine's Day whomping of the Nets 50-point win.
For all the 50-pointers,
man. The tenure ending wins that the Celtics had this year.
Mm-hmm. OG's and tenure ender, Pascal's tenure ender, Siakam. Yep.
Jacques
Vaughn cooked. Steve Clifford cooked.
You think the Celtics like wouldn't be the final straw for teams? Like you couldn't beat that team, you're fired. Like no, I don't think that's a fair measuring stick.
You got to beat everybody, man. The fact that I can utter the phrase "all of the 50-point wins were fun," I think is pretty good. I think that's a pretty cool thing. 3, yeah.
There's a fourth game of the season. Then they beat the Warriors. Then there was the Brooklyn one.
Nets, 3. 1, 2, 3.
I feel like they also had another one. Now I gotta look. I mean, there's several 30-point.
Yeah, there's a lot of 30s.
I mean, they had back-to-back whompings against Sacramento and the Clippers.
They never beat
West.
the Wizards by 50. I guess not. No, they beat them by 26. Sorry. Tomorrow, fourth 50-point win of the season. Thoughts? Tomorrow's time.
Hell, even last night's win against Charlotte was a lot of fun.
That's what I was gonna say. I was about to say, like, I thought Pritchard and the fellows were about to get a fourth 50-point win of the season.
The Sacramento win when Tillman hit the game winner.
Yeah, that was a good one. They killed Sacramento in the other game too. Actually, the road Sacramento game was particularly fun. That was 45. That's probably what you're thinking of.
Well, that was a good one too because they really didn't start that great.
That's what I was just
was
gonna
on fire, and then Drew Holiday came in and manned the second unit with Tatum out. He took the Tatum minutes, and they had an excellent second quarter.
They just murdered him, dude. Yeah,
I
think it's Minnesota though. Minnesota's different.
How often do you guys get us to sit here and reminisce about positive things? Not very often.
Never, almost never. You might get it in the summer a little bit, but like, cherish this because it's not going to happen. All right, let's go check out the email. A reminder, as always, we don't have any today. Comment what's popping on the podcast in the comment section for a chance to win a $10 Incognito gift card. Get yourself some really good popcorn. But let's check in with RJ, who has sent us some emails since the last time we recorded. All right. What are you laughing at?
I'm on Celtics Reddit. So every time they win, the same guy posts like a meme mixtape, like the victory video. And he goes, the Celtics dominate the Hornets while I was watching Godzilla. Man, went to the movies last night, didn't give a fuck about the game.
Respect. That's what you got to do, man. All right. RJ's emails. First one, enough about the players. Evening, guys. I won't ask about Drew and contracts yet. I'll wait for the dust to settle. Right now, I'll ask you to rank the coaches in the Eastern Conference playoffs from first to worst. Who would you least like to play in a playoff chess match? Be well, RJ. And maybe the only Celtics fan. Maybe the only Celtics fan not to have his own podcast. Okay, so we'll exclude Joe since it's about.
I know a guy that will do a podcast with you.
We'll exclude Joe since it's about who we would most or least want to play. I think Spoelstra's one. Easy.
Spoelstra and Nick Nurse are the biggest pricks of the bunch.
So yeah, do we want to do best coach or do you want to do don't want to face?
Well, it's the same thing when it comes to coaches. We're ranking the coaches.
So you'd say Nick Nurse is a better coach than Tibbs?
Yeah.
Really?
He's got a ring with a inferior Raptors team. Like that wasn't that
okay
great team.
So Doc is a better coach than Tibbs.
That's not what I'm saying.
But my point is, you can't use he has
my saying Nick Nurse has a ring and then saying his team really wasn't that great, and then you're like, hey, what about Doc who has a ring?
My point is
one of the best teams.
My point is you can't say the ring is like the reason. Like I think it's I don't know, man.
Plus, I hate playing Nick Nurse.
That's why I asked you: are we doing the best coaches? Or are we doing most would want to play, like least want to play? Do you understand why I asked the question now? You know what I'm saying? Because it is different.
I kind of get it. I don't know. Do the least want to play then? Because Nick Nurse is towards the top.
least want to play. I'd still put Spoelstra 1, then Nick Nurse 2, though. Because
I hate his gaped mouth.
After that, least want to play. I don't know. Like it's tough. Like I guess Tibbs would probably be
Tibbs
3. Still.
Everybody else, then Doc.
Yeah, Doc. You most want to play. Bring him. Actually, would you most want to play Doc or no? I'd still rather play Doc the coach than Billy Donovan or DeJounte Murray.
No.
Murray. I mean,
those don't count. Okay. I don't think anybody's anticipating either of those teams getting into the playoffs unless one of the wonky situations that we talked about earlier in the pod happens where, oh, wow, it's Orlando and Indiana in the play-in.
I think then in that case, I'd go Spo 1, Nurse 2, Tibbs 3, Rick Carlisle 4, Jamal Mosley 5, then JB Bickerstaff, then Doc Rivers. I think that's the order, roughly.
All right.
I think we'll rock with that.
Cosign.
Thank you, RJ. Next one from RJ. What's poppin'? This game left blank intentionally. It's from 2 days ago. Evening, guys. Well, that was 3/4 of basketball. I'm never getting back this after the Knicks game. I know that the litany of reasons Thursday's game against the Knicks did not matter apart from leaving the game healthy as when it started. That said, if I was a fan in attendance, I'd be going up to the ticket window and asking for a refund or a make good. Flatter than day old soda, this one was. The Maine Celtics tried to win the title on the road, but after closing a 4-point deficit in the fourth quarter, the OKC Blue held on, so the Lobster Lads will have to win it all in Monday or on Monday in Portland. I hope they get it done. Jack, I hope your camera issues get sorted out. Be well, RJ, who will have to tune out Knicks fandom a little harder. Yeah, my camera's fixed. I just pressed a button.
RJ having his eyes open to how terrible the Knicks fans are. People don't believe you until you lose to them. And then they all come out of the woods and they're like, hey, aren't we the greatest team ever?
There you go. Not a fan. Next one from RJ. Oh my God. What's poppin'? 12 minutes of heck. Morning, guys. Nice Talking Seas episode this morning on Friday. My wish for these last 2 regular season games is simple. If any of the starting 6 start the game, play with energy in the first quarter. That's all. Give the fans who are showing up to root for, give something to root for apart from the rousing cheer of 2-4-6-8. Please don't hurt your left handmate. Then if you want to drop from warp speed to impulse power, have fun. Now that I've made some Celtics contact, let's talk about food. All right. The first sandwich, the XXX Family Drive-In Burger Menu in West Lafayette, Indiana. That sounds something. Long before it was featured on the Food Network as a, quote, family drive-in, it was the place to go at Purdue after bar close, as it was open 24 hours except Sunday nights and Monday mornings. I worked the midnight to 8 a.m. shift there for a couple weeks when I thought I could work midnights. Their sandwich menu has a number of options named for Purdue athletes, but the most notorious is the Dwayne Purvis All-American. Take a quarter pounder on a toasted sesame seed bun and top with American cheese, lettuce, tomato, pickle, onion, and creamy peanut butter. I confess I've never tried the Purvis burger. I always saw a lot of folks stagger to the counter in the wee hours, buy one to top off their binge drinking and promptly regret their life choices. I heard it's a tasty treat when it isn't sitting on top of full weight of drink specials. Here's their full menu. My own favorite were their biscuits and sausage gravy for breakfast and the Leroy loin for a lunch sandwich. I hope they add an Edie tribute menu or item.
Just like a full-on hot dog.
It's cost you. Just make it like $2 for a foot-long hot dog.
Or it's like a giant Jersey Mike's.
Next sandwich, RJ says, lox and cream cheese bagel. Some things require a specialist, and a first-rate lox and cream cheese bagel is one of them. Go to a Jewish deli, take a ticket, wait for your number to be called. If there's no line, go find the deli with the line, and then yell over the background noise that you want a lox and cream cheese bagel with tomato and onion. Be prepared to get yelled back at in part because of the noise, and asked if you want a soda with that. Remember that you do and get a Dr. Brown's black cherry soda. Wait patiently for it to be made. Pay the counterman, collect your order, and go off and have a fantastic sandwich. Be well, RJ. Solid.
You won't see Kyrie there.
All right. Next email. What's poppin'? Stay ready, crew. Meet the Lobster Lads. Evening, guys. Friday night basketball in early April is turning out to be fun. Last week, it was the Xavier Tillman game winner against the Knicks. Tonight, it was the Legion of substitute heroes crushing the Hornets. Everyone who played tonight for Boston played hard, smart team basketball within the skills they have. Obviously, the big story was Pritchard putting on a show with 31, 2, and 11, being able to sit out the fourth quarter, but pick anyone on the floor, and they had their own set of highlights. Jaden Springer fueling his offense with pesky defense, Luke finishing strong at the rim and feeding assists, Brissy getting 6 offensive rebounds, and the main men made their presence felt at both ends, contributing a 39, 16, and 13 line from the law firm of Davis and Peterson and Kada and Walsh, I should say, and a combined 57 minutes of court time. I'm looking forward to what Sunday and the Wizards have to bring while the rest of the East desperately competes to solve injury and seeding questions. It's true, nothing puts the pep in your step like a 33-point blowout. Be well, RJ, and a fan of all Celtics, great and small. I like the law firm. I'm a big fan of that description of the main guys.
I agree.
Also, respect Xavier Tillman. He's senior, not junior, RJ. Come on. That was the last email. W. Thank you, RJ, per usual. I'm out of breath.
If you ever need to tag me in, go ahead.
I'm so used to just powering through. Anyways, next thing. Let's go to the NBA section and take a look at the Western Conference standings, who also have a lot of stuff to be figured out on the final day of the season. Now we can try to test out the playoff predictor simulator thing that Andrew linked. But first, let's take a look at who everybody's playing and where they currently are in the NBA standings as I pull up ESPN. Western Conference currently sitting at, obviously, you have the 3-team race of Thunder, Timberwolves, Nuggets, who are literally all tied at 56 and 25 heading into the final day of the regular season. You can't write it.
So here's the best thing about this. I don't know if you stumbled upon this morning because I know you were busy. You had business to attend to. Also, by the way, Embiid practiced today. Knee responded well. Seems like he's doing okay. So anyone curious about that? I know we didn't have it on the sheet, but it was the last thing I looked up. Bobby Manning retweeted this meme about the Western Conference playoff race, and it is fantastic. Let me go find it for you. So I'm going to share screen real quick. Sorry to body the standings off the screen, but I will give it back momentarily. So, as you know, all 3 of these teams are tied. However, the Minnesota Timberwolves own the tiebreaker over both Denver and Oklahoma City. Yet they are not the top seed because of all these dumbass stipulations, division title winners. Aren't they all in the same division? They're all in the Northwest Division. It's right? Yeah. Because so Minnesota is, Oklahoma City is because they used to be Seattle.
Yes,
and Denver is.
They're all in the same division. So
this makes no sense.
Wait, well, yeah, why is OKC first then? Do you know?
I don't know. But this is exactly it right here. It's a 3-way tie for first. Yep. Minnesota owns a tiebreaker over Denver. Yep. Minnesota owns a tiebreaker over OKC. That makes sense to me. Minnesota is the first seed. OKC is actually the first seed.
Okay, I found the explanation. Matt Moore of Action Network tweeted, Minnesota has each individual tiebreaker, but 3-team ties are different. OKC went 3-1 against the Nuggets and 2-2 against the Wolves. The Wolves went 2-2 against the Thunder and 2-2 against the Nuggets. So in a 3-way tie to determine division winner, which is the first tiebreaker needed, it's cumulative record head to head. So OKC is 5-3, Minnesota's 4-4, and Denver's 3-5. So OKC gets the tiebreaker over Minnesota despite not having the head to head tiebreaker. So
I'm so happy that we went and looked this up because I think this is valuable information.
This makes sense. This actually does make sense.
To his credit, has done a great job of tweeting all of this stuff out today. I bookmarked a couple of them before I got in the sheet, and Jack had found his own source, so it's all the same info. But he did a really great job of lining it all up too. So
yeah,
shout out to him.
This makes sense. That said, it all comes down to the final game of the season. So let's look at this mess of a thing that I have here.
Get this shit off my screen, man.
I said it the current standings. Well, no, you can see how it
I'm
works.
kidding you. I'm just kidding you.
So it would work like this. I don't know why they don't have the standings normal. Like why the standings broken up like this? Like it's 5 through, I don't know.
Oh, it's all about the division winners, baby.
You know what I'm saying?
It's probably broken up that way, to be honest with you, because that determines a lot of these 3-way ties.
Yeah. So let's say the Nuggets. Let me just click all this. Let's say the Nuggets, the Thunder. Where are the Thunder? Nuggets, the Thunder, and the Timberwolves all win their games. It would just be Thunder on top because, again, they have the thing. If the Timberwolves and Nuggets win, but the Thunder lose, it would be Timberwolves in 1, Nuggets in 2, Thunder in 3. If the Timberwolves, what would it be? Timberwolves and Thunder win, but the Nuggets lose, it would be but the Nuggets lose. It would be Timberwolves 1, Thunder 2, Nuggets 3. If the Nuggets are the only team that win, obviously it would be Nuggets in 1. If the Nuggets are the only team that wins, obviously it would be Nuggets in 1, Timberwolves 2, Thunder 3. So the only way the Thunder can get the 1 seed is if all 3 teams tie. Wait, what if the Timberwolves lose and the Nuggets and Thunder win? Then it would be Timberwolves lose, but the Nuggets and Thunder win. The Nuggets would get it still. So the Nuggets have it over. The Thunder have it over the Nuggets. So it's going to be a mess. It's a mess. It's a mess. Is all it is. It's a mess. The only way the Nuggets can get the 1 seed is if they win and the other 2 teams lose. The only ways that Thunder can get it are if the Timberwolves lose. The Timberwolves have to lose for the Thunder to get it.
And who's hovering? So pull the standings back up because I need to figure out who they're actually trying to avoid /play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Standings. So that's the top 3. Clippers, Mavs, and Pelicans are fighting for 4, 5, 6.
What a
I don't
crapshoot,
know.
dude.
Can stuff happen in 4 through 7 still? Can they change?
New Orleans and Phoenix can swap. Dallas and LA will play each other no matter what.
Really?
Yes, that is set.
Okay, cool.
I don't even know if home court can change, to be honest with you.
No,
it might be locked.
LA is gonna have home court, yeah. Okay, that's good to know. And then the play-in, Kings and Warriors are tied at 11 games back. Lakers are 1 game up on them, and the Suns are locked in at 6 or 7. Them and the Pelicans could swap. I assume it's just the Suns need to win, the Pelicans need to lose for the Suns to jump them, which makes sense.
Yes.
And
then they would have the tiebreaker, correct.
Outside of that,
LA wins, they will keep their 8 seed. And those other 2 teams are still trying. So it's funny because New Orleans has something to play for. Sacramento has something to play for. It's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow. You just have all these teams.
Yep. The Warriors could still jump to as high as 8.
Wait a minute.
What?
You got these results you're toying with are Friday results.
Oh, sorry, my bad. I'll go back to current standings.
You might have to refresh it.
No, yeah, I just click current standings again. You're right. Okay, so let's say the Warriors win, and the Kings and Lakers lose, or the Kings and Lakers lose. Warriors would be 8, Lakers 9, Kings 10. If the Warriors and the Kings win, the Lakers would be 10, and then Kings would be 8, Warriors 9. So this is, I guess, what we're rooting for. If all 3 teams win, it stays 8, 9, 10, Lakers, Kings, Warriors. If the Lakers or if the Warriors the only team that lose, they stay at 10. If the Kings are the only team that lose, they go to 10. The Lakers need to lose to fall. So we're rooting for the Pelicans, who actually do have something to play for. So that's good.
Yeah, that's the thing about the West. Like, everybody still has stuff to play for.
What a fucking mess the West is. It's going to be a good night, and we're going to have a lot to recap.
It's going to be a fantastic way to watch basketball tomorrow.
It's going to be real fun. Anyways, let's move on. Next thing. The Cavs are kind of expected to trade Donovan Mitchell, relatively speaking. Mark Stein of the Stein Line reported this. Said, as I discussed in here on multiple occasions, Mitchell will be entering the final guaranteed year of his current contract extension, or his current contract next season if there is no extension, leading to a growing belief among rival teams that the Cavs will be forced to trade Mitchell in the coming months if they cannot come to terms with him on an extension. Obviously, Cavs owner confident they'll get an extension done. The rest of the NBA world doesn't think they will. So that's, I think, where we're all standing at right now.
Yeah, he's getting traded, which really makes you question how successful the Cavs will be in this playoff run, because if you already have, I mean, listen, jump back in the time machine a couple of years and think about how terrible it was when everyone was like, Kyrie's going to leave. And then they got in the playoffs and they swept the first round. But then as soon as they faced any adversity, losing to the Bucks, they were chalked. They had nothing left. So I think this means the Cavs are likely to just turn on each other. Not turn on each other completely, but butt heads, throw blame around. They're not going to be able to kind of bond and get past speed bumps in the playoffs. They are a team I would want to play.
You know what this means, though? Get ready for another summer of Miami trade rumors, buddy. Be ready.
Heater getting everybody.
Be ready.
Yeah.
Heater getting everybody.
And the Knicks, too. It's going to be terrible.
And unfortunately, it makes sense for both teams.
Does it really make sense for the Knicks?
Not as much sense as it makes for the Heat, but I do think it makes some, like, a little bit of sense. Like, I think it would work. Be fine.
Yeah, it'll probably be the Heat. Maybe the West.
So. I just don't know where in the West.
Spurs, do something.
OKC?
Do they need another guard?
No, but you get Donovan Mitchell. Like,
Spurs
would be very cool. I'm in for the Spurs. I like that a lot.
Anytime there's a trade candidate now, just it's the button meme Spurs.
Would you trade Jalen Green for Donovan Mitchell for the Rockets? I wouldn't, but
Jalen. Well,
it's not terrible.
It is like the sell high thing. So
yeah,
but he's like really young and he's starting to play well and he has all this athleticism, and you're going to be able to control his contract for years and years.
You know what I really like? I said this last time. Just Kings. It's the same as Donovan. It's the same as Malik Monk. It's just a better version of Malik Monk.
Mm-hmm. Not on that. and not Lakers.
Yeah, not East. Not East, not Lakers. And next thing, send me the Grizzlies. Sorry, I'm just thinking of teams now. Send me the Grizzlies. That'd be real fun. I'd like that a lot.
That would be fun.
That'd be very cool.
Imagine all the dunks.
Yeah, that'd be
Him
so
and
fun. Ja Morant, Donovan Mitchell, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson, and then pick a insert center here, or just run small ball and play Marcus Smart at the 4. Yeah. Next thing, you can get this guy for center, except the Nets aren't trading him. The Nets are keeping Ben Simmons, Sam. They are keeping him. Don't worry. Brian Lewis, the New York Post, reported that there's been, quote, no indication within the Nets organization that the team is even considering a buyout. And the Brooklyn Nets have reportedly no plans to buy him out and are expecting him to be on the roster. So they're keeping him, Sam. They want him. Don't worry. He'll be there no matter what.
Ben Simmons, he'll be back. Next year, he's coming back, and he's going to be good again. Remember when he did the Reddick pod before last season? He was like, yeah, I'm ready. Like, I'm feeling good again. It was the biggest PR propaganda. Hey, everybody, I was the victim. Hey, nobody knows what it's like to be me. And he is.
I will say, regardless of what you think of like what happened in Philly, like you can dislike him for that. That's fine. But like at this point, I do feel a little bad because it does feel like he has just been fucked with like actual injuries over and over again, but no one cares because of what happened in Philly.
Yeah, he like cried wolf. So I don't think anybody believes him.
But like he definitely, I think, has been like really injured for the past like 2 years, 3 years. But it's all been marred by the way his Philly exit went, which sucks.
I mean,
because
anytime you see a report with Ben Simmons, you're just like
sucks, man.
Take it with a grain of salt. Is he actually hurt? Does he not want to play basketball?
I feel bad.
I mean, remember the Celtics series where it was like, hey, Ben Simmons might be back. Yeah. Another game goes by. Hey, he's coming back. Watch out. And then it was just him with the clown outfit on courtside.
Just watch him get swept. Anyways, speaking of the Nets, the NBA coaching carousel is starting early. Coaching Christmas coming early. Report from Shams Charania, The Athletic. Sources: Bucks championship coach Mike Budenholzer, Kings associate Jordi Fernandez, and Suns associate Kevin Young has emerged among the finalists for the Brooklyn Nets head coaching job. Interesting. Bud could be back in the East. I know there's a lot of hype around Jordi Fernandez. I know he is well liked, and I know Kevin Young's been in the running for a lot of head coaching jobs recently as well. Bud in the East again would be fun, man. That'd be something, huh?
New Doc Rivers dropped.
Meanwhile, we were talking about it last night during the Celtics Hornets game. Do you think Charles Lee was just on the sideline crying watching the Hornets play basketball?
Yeah, I was about to say, like, sneaky, like selfish fist pump. Charles Lee not mentioned in this.
Yeah, it's true. But and the other one is, who the fuck's gonna want the Wizards job?
Anybody that's trying to break in. Like, as terrible as it sounds, if you're trying to break into the coaching, the head coach world, you are joining a job that really doesn't have expectations.
Mm-hmm.
All you can really do with the Wizards is succeed and overachieve. Because if they're ass again, then the roster's just not good. They're not giving you a team to compete with. And what are you supposed to do? But if for some reason, whoever the coach is gets hired, the players come in serious, Jordan Poole gets his act together, and they compete for a play-in spot or something, everybody will be praising the coach. They'll be singing praises. He took the team and made them better, blah, 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 blah. That is a solid situation. It's not ideal. Like we talked about, joining the wrong team, you might not want to do it because it could tarnish your reputation. But if you feel like you have it, you feel like you're confident, it's worth probably taking on.
I guess. Yeah. Fuck it. Why not?
Because you got to think, like, there's only 30 head coaching jobs in the NBA, and there's a bunch of people that want them.
What I was gonna say is, how like crazy is it? Like when you see a really like good job pop up, like the Celtics, like 2 years ago when Brad stepped down, it must have been like, holy shit, this is the best job we're gonna see in a long time.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, they probably could have got anybody they wanted.
I know, and then the one guy they chose decided to fuck around and find out, literally. Last NBA thing. The Hawks are going to be trading one of their stars this summer. Reportedly, this is from Mark Stein of the Stein line. While the Atlanta Hawks are focused on trying to bypass the Bulls to the 9 seed, Stein says the Hawks are, quote, likely to trade either Young or Murray this summer. There have been rumblings that one of them is going to go. He reported in February that one person going with the Atlanta dynamics of the teams knows it has to trade one or the other. I was listening to Keith Smith and Trevor Lane talk about it, and they basically said just throw them both up for trade and take the best offer that you think would work for the future of your team. What a mess. What a mess Atlanta has made. It's Spurs. It's got to be the Spurs. You know what I would do if I'm them? I'd trade to the Spurs, and I'd trade Murray to the Nets or another team and just reset.
That's enough of that.
We're both done. Wipe the hands. Jalen Johnson, we have you here. You're cool. We'll give Kobe Buffkin some run. We'll make a pick in the draft, and we'll get rocking. Minnesota can make some sense, but what do you trade?
Because Mike Conley's on the way out. Kind of. Like, he's still solid, but, like, he's getting older.
So
and he has been a key component of like how well they play.
But what are they trading?
They don't really have picks.
Exactly. they don't really have much to give.
Yeah, maybe not Minnesota. I'm just thinking about fit. I'm not thinking about trade.
Yeah. I mean, you could do like
Phoenix.
Like what though? What do the Hawks want from Phoenix? You know what I'm saying? Like there's
I'm just thinking of players that could use like or teams that could use a guard, like a point guard.
Brooklyn could use a point guard, and they have
Brooklyn
picks.
could use a lot.
They have assets, exactly. They
but like the way I'm looking at it is
Orlando
is a good one because you need, I think, to actually make a trade, right? You need the assets, but you also need the situation that you feel like the trade is going to get you over some sort of hump. I don't think that Brooklyn has that. And I don't really think who else did we mention? Did you mention?
Orlando, San Antonio. I think that's it.
I don't know.
Well, I don't think Brooklyn.
A team like Brooklyn, right? They can absolutely afford a trade for either of those guys. But do you really think whatever is going to come from the Trae Young or DeJounte Murray Brooklyn Nets is going to be worth whatever amount of draft picks you're going to have to give up?
I mean,
but on the other hand,
what reason do they have to be bad?
They don't have a reason to be bad, but at the same time, like, I guess they have other people's draft picks.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, that's just such a weird spot. Like, the Nets have,
and realistically, like, I'm not saying the Nets are going to immediately jump to being one of the best teams in the East, but there is room for them to like be a playoff team in the East. Like they could get in there. It's not that high of a bar to reach.
Maybe you trade for both of DeJounte Murray and Donovan Mitchell, or Trae Young and Donovan Mitchell, or something like that.
I guess.
Can you afford both? I'm just trying to think of like Orlando is a perfect team because they do have assets and they do have reason to want to improve where they believe like, hey, we get the right guy distributing the ball. Watch out. Phoenix, if they get somebody that's actually a point guard, they can compete.
Like Chris Paul?
Yeah, well, he's washed. He's old, though.
Would you rather have Chris Paul on the team or Bradley Beal?
Probably Chris Paul. But
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Bradley Beal's contract is a nightmare, dude.
Man.
This is going to make for a
Toronto? If you're Toronto, do you
Toronto is a team, maybe. Yeah, Toronto, because they have the young pieces. They have RJ, they have Scotty Barnes. I don't know what they think of Quickly, but they're going to have room to grow. They are a team that's maybe going to have their own pick this year. Maybe not.
Generational tank. They tried their best. Anyways,
that's a
let's.
All right. Yeah, nobody else really jumps into mind.
Ratless time, shall we?
Yeah, Ratless.
What you got? Hit me.
I don't
have much today, so.
Yeah, I don't really have much either. This is a disaster. I got to think of. I'm gonna Ratless Knicks fans. I guess I'll just go plain and simple. The Celtics lost on Thursday to the Knicks, and they hung a championship banner. You would have thought there was going to be a parade around Madison Square Garden after Thursday. Some of the stuff I saw on Twitter with my newly followed Knicks friends from doing the Knicks tape pod.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. These people are on the Kool-Aid. You had, oh my God, look at Jalen Brunson. He's so good. He breaks Jaylen Brown's full court press, and then Tatum switches and he gets by Tatum. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, who probably don't care about that game at all. Like, I don't really think they looked engaged at all in that game. The ones that commented on the pod from the game that did not come to see us from my appearance on the Knicks tape pod, just unbelievable, man.
Always Ratless Andrew.
Yeah,
Ratless. So I've been driving into the city. I've been driving instead of taking the T. And the amount of people. So, I mean, this wasn't me driving in, but last night I was driving home and there's construction on 24, but the exit ramp I take onto 24 from, I forget what the other highway is called because I'm terrible at names. I just learned 24. Give me a break. There was like this truck and police officer, cop car in the far left lane doing construction. So I'm trying to like get over to the second most left lane to avoid it. Speeding past me. This is like 2 a.m. Keep in mind, like there's no reason that you can't slow down or go into the other end to let me go. So I like am within like 500 feet of this car and I still haven't been able to merge because these guys are not letting me in. And eventually I force my way in and they like skirt over into the other lane as I go. I'm like, you saw what was happening. Like you knew I had to get over and there's nobody behind you. Like, this is not a me problem. You're an asshole. Like, have some fucking people who the Ratless people have no self-awareness or no like otherworldly awareness when they're on the roads. Like, you have to be aware of other things that are happening outside of directly in front of you. It's ridiculous.
I'm gonna say to follow up on yours in the finale of Curb. They do like a bit on that situation where Larry's trying to get in and they won't let him in, and then he runs into the person. But that's all I'm gonna say. If you're trying to watch it, you're not gonna get it spoiled for you from me. I mean, not that that part of the show is even really that important, but oh man, this is brutal.
I just don't have much. Like there's I don't have much like that has happened that I have to complain about.
I got hurt and then I haven't really like gone to the gym or anything because I can't really like grab a weight.
Mm-hmm. I really have nothing to give. Like that's all I've got. All I've done the past few days is go to the Celtics game. So I've just done the same thing over and over, like twice in a row. I love the same day twice. That's it. That's all I got for you. Is this just a really short route? This is like a 3-minute route list. That's all we got.
Hey, I feel really bad that there was nothing for people today.
I have nothing, but I'm not going to complain because I'm going to go golf now, which is fun. So I'm going to go do that. Anyways, sorry for the short route list. Email us your route list because clearly we're not good at thinking them anymore. We need to be more bitter. This is our bad. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it very much. Make sure to subscribe to How About Them Celtics. Leave a like on the pod. Excuse me. Check us out on streaming platforms, Spotify and Apple. Follow us there. Leave 5 stars. And I'll let Sam wrap it up as I get rid of my hiccups.
Hey, thank you very much for listening or watching. If you're watching, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our daily uploads like this one. We have these pods coming out for you every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. We have game recaps the morning after each game, and we have other videos coming out in between. You can also find us streaming on the channel Tuesday nights for Celtics at the Roundtable around 6 p.m. This week will be a different time because I think we're going to do a poll, right? Figure out what time.
I'm not sure what we're doing. We'll be live at some point on Tuesday night.
We'll be there.
Tuesday.
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday talking C's in the morning. And we're live a half hour before each and every single game for pregame. So come hang out. Spotify and Apple have our pods and game recaps on them. So if you want to listen, you can follow us there. They'll go right to your inbox. And you can leave us a nice review. We would appreciate that very much. Like Jack said, email us whether you have thoughts on the games, rat list stuff. We love to hear from you. So the email is hbtcpod@gmail.com. Send it our way. We'll read it. Socials at How About Them C's is Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Our Facebook is just the name of the podcast. You can find us there streaming. You can find us on YouTube streaming, and you can find us on Twitter streaming. Jack's Twitter is at Jack1NBA. Mine is at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.